Tokyo has created one of the world's cleanest urban environments. In the course of its growth and development, our city has faced and overcome various problems associated with waste. This short film tells the history of waste management in Tokyo, from the post-war days and the rise of mass consumption to today's efforts toward a sound material cycle society. After World War II, as Japan's economy was reconstructed, the volume of waste in Tokyo began to increase, reaching more than 1 million tons in the late 1950s. Back in those days, handcarts were used to collect waste. It wasn't until 1958 that the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, TMG, first introduced collection vehicles, and manual collection was fully replaced by 1961. In the 1960s, TMG removed the trash collection boxes that had been located on every corner in the city and launched a waste collection system that used plastic bins. It also started a regularly scheduled waste collection service. By 1964, the year Tokyo hosted its first Olympic Games, this approach had been introduced citywide. TMG also set the goal of incinerating all combustible waste and rushed to build incinerators. As a result, the amount of waste incinerated in 1970 was 8 times that in 1961. However, the increase in waste generated proved to be much faster than anticipated, and TMG was forced to continue to dispose of untreated waste in landfills. The volume of waste taken to landfills increased. Umenoshima landfill started accepting waste in 1957 and reached capacity in 1967. That year, Wakasu landfill started operation. In 1965, however, the number of flies in the landfill had increased significantly. Therefore, the area was burned out. With the rise of the consumer society, the amount of waste generated in Tokyo accelerated, reaching 3 million tons in 1970. During this period, commercial waste and new waste materials such as plastic continued to grow. To respond to this situation, in 1970, the Waste Management Act was enacted. It was this piece of legislation that embodied the concept of industrial waste and the principle of the waste generator taking responsibility for the appropriate disposal of industrial waste. As the volume of waste continued to increase, TMG was faced with a shortage of incineration and landfill capacity. In 1971, the governor of Tokyo declared the war on waste. After several years of conflict between wards, the Suginami Incineration Plant was finally built in 1982. Since then, the principle of disposing waste within the boundaries of each ward has been widely recognized. Meanwhile, the Tama area cities were forced to find landfill sites inland, posing a major challenge. In the early 1970s, construction debris and incombustible waste as well as incineration ash were dumped in gravel pits across Hamura and Mizuho towns. Waste was also being openly burned. Finally, residents decided enough was enough and filed a suit. To address the problem, municipalities in the Tama area established the Council for Final Disposal and initiated a joint approach in 1973. In 1980, 25 cities and 2 towns in the Tama area joined together to establish the Tokyo Tama Regional Association for Waste Management and Resource Recycling. Following the second oil crisis in 1979, the level of waste in Tokyo generally remained stable. But with the economic boom of the late 1980s, waste volumes again started to increase, reaching a record high 6.28 million tons in 1989. This led TMG to introduce its Tokyo Slim campaign to raise resident awareness of the need to reduce waste and the importance of recycling. In 1991, the Tokyo Waste Assembly established the Waste Reduction Plan to promote the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle, in cooperation with citizens, businesses, and local governments. In the 1990s, TMG also reinforced measures to address commercial waste. In 1991, routine inspections of large office buildings started. In 1994, TMG introduced new rules requiring the use of translucent waste bags. In 1996, TMG introduced the full waste fee system for commercial waste, which requires even small-sized businesses to purchase specified collection fee tickets. In February 1997, total incineration capacity finally caught up with the amount of combustible waste with the startup of the Edogawa Incineration Plant. In 1999, in all 23 wards, TMG started separate collection of used paper and other recyclable materials. As a result, a 1 million ton reduction in waste was achieved during the 10 years following the peak year of 1989. With the decentralization reforms of 2000, TMG's responsibility for municipal solid waste management in urbanized areas of Tokyo was divided and transferred to each ward. Meanwhile, municipalities in the Tama area worked on separate collection and voluntary recycling by residents to reduce the volumes of waste going to landfills. As a result, the volume of recycled materials increased from 40,000 tons in 1980 to 350,000 tons in 2000. Municipalities in the Tama area boast top positions in terms of their rate of recycling among municipalities nationwide. Meanwhile, island areas have also achieved improvements in spite of geographic and financial barriers. TMG has also provided support for waste reduction and recycling and joint development of landfills. Great East Japan earthquake in 2011, TMG began accepting waste from disaster-hit areas in Iwate and Miyagi Prefecture. Any waste accepted was first tested to check radiation levels. In all, Tokyo accepted 61,839 tons of waste from Miyagi Prefecture and 83,033 tons from Iwate Prefecture.